Hey everyone, I'm Anna from Start Abroad, and I'm here to talk to you today about some of our clients who have moved to Costa Rica and made the country their home in the past year. Today, we're going to be chatting through some case studies, three case studies, in fact. And the idea behind this is to give you some examples of all of the different decisions that you can make when it comes to moving to Costa Rica. There is no one size fits all move. So when you're trying to figure out what is right for you, it can often be very useful to learn through examples. These are three, or really four, real people who we have helped settle into Costa Rica, and now they are living their Pura Vida in different places around the country. We're going to talk about how they got here, what they brought with them, where they're living now, and importantly, how much it all cost. So without further ado, let me introduce our wonderful clients. Note that some names and personal details have been changed, but otherwise, these are the facts. So Camille is a retired artist. She moved down to Costa Rica from California last year along with her cat. She fell in love with the Arenal area and now lives in a town to the south of Lake Arenal called Tronadora. Peter is a successful businessman from Illinois. He relocated down to the San Jose area. He lives in Escazú now. He was particularly interested in addressing some ongoing health issues and managing health conditions while here in Costa Rica. So that was a big focus of his move. And then we have Charlotte and Dave. They are digital nomads who made the move down to the Central Pacific coast from Atlanta, Georgia. They also brought their dog and two cats, so pet relocation was a very important topic for them. They both work remotely for US companies. So here's a summary of some of the different aspects of these folks' moves. You'll see there are many different components that we can think about when it comes to the move. Everything from visa to location, to what are you bringing with you? How are you getting it down here? Pets, transport, or buying a car, and much, much more. We help our clients with every one of these components. Our goal at Start Abroad is to help you understand your options and then make the right decision for you. Of course, visas and residency are a primary concern for a lot of our clients when you're thinking about how can you legally live in Costa Rica. So let's talk about a few of the options and what these wonderful clients decided was right for them. To start off with, Camille. So Camille was retired and she wanted to live just off of Social Security. In fact, it's one of the big reasons she made the move down to Costa Rica to begin with, the reduced cost of living. With a Social Security income of about 2,400 US dollars per month, she easily qualified for the pensionado or retiree visa. She was able to receive that visa after about a year's waiting period. Peter bought a home and he knew he was going to invest in real estate in Costa Rica, so the investor visa or inversionista visa made perfect sense for him. It is taking a little bit longer right now to get the investor visa in Costa Rica, but he applied a little more than a year ago, so we're expecting it should come through any week now. Charlotte and Dave were in a bit of a different situation. They're working remotely and they're just trying out Costa Rica for a year or two. So for them, the digital nomad visa made perfect sense. It's also a pretty fast process. It took them only 2.5 months to get their visas and more affordable. For this type of residency, it only costs about $750 in legal fees. For the temporary residencies, like the rentista, pensionado, or retiree visa, and that investor or inversionista visa, the legal fees are a bit higher. Those residencies can also lead to permanent residency and citizenship, so it's worth the investment. One of the first things we like to discuss with our clients is location. Where in this beautiful country is right for you? It needs to fit with your priorities, your must-haves, and your nice-to-haves as well. For Camille, she was looking for tranquility, a beautiful view that could inspire her for her art, enough space for her cat. She also wanted to settle into a supportive expat community as she was moving by herself. She grew up sailing and loved the idea of being near the water, but didn't want it to be quite so hot as it sometimes gets down on the beach. So the Arenal area was perfect for her. Peter, of course, had to prioritize access to top medical care, and some of the best healthcare in the country is in Escazú, certainly in the San Jose area. He also had good friends living in Heredia, another suburb just outside of San Jose. He preferred the city amenities as well, so San Rafael de Escazú was just right for him. Charlotte and Dave wanted the beach. They had been down to Costa Rica and fell in love with the beaches on the Pacific coast. They also work remotely and they needed really fast internet, like the fastest speeds that Costa Rica offers. But they also didn't have a huge budget. So Playa Herradura ended up delivering for them on budget, beach, and internet. Let's talk about your different types of shipping needs. Camille was moving from a 2-bedroom house in Northern California. She really wanted to bring her art collection and also books and a number of household items, although not her entire house. She ended up finding that a 20-foot container more than met her needs, and she saved some money by packing everything herself. Peter, on the other hand, wanted to ship down all of his furniture from a larger 3-bedroom home. He also decided to bring down his car, which is an interesting decision we'll talk about a little bit later when that makes sense. He went with a door-to-door service that made his life much easier and included packing for him. But of course, it was a bit more expensive. Now, Charlotte and Dave didn't want to bring down many things, but they did have a lot of electronics and other work supplies that they needed to bring, along with their 3 pets. So what made sense for them was to bring down 15 large bins full of equipment and personal items. Bins like you'll see down here in the corner of the slide. They also were able to save by not paying any import taxes, which is very frequently the case when you're flying and bringing your things in on the plane. What about bringing your pets? We have 2 dogs ourselves here in Costa Rica, and we know that bringing your pets down is incredibly important, but it can be one of the most stressful parts of the process. Camille flew her cat in cabin on Alaska Airlines, which is one of the top airlines that flies to Costa Rica when it comes to pet considerations. That's generally possible for cats and also small dogs 20 pounds or under. Charlotte and Dave were in a different situation. They have a dog, weighs about 45 pounds, a husky, that they needed to bring down to Costa Rica with them. We ended up recommending to them a great customs broker specifically for pets who could organize not only the importation of their dog in Costa Rica, but also all of the logistics on the United States side. Generally speaking, when you're relocating a larger animal, you have a couple of options depending on where you live in the country, which airports you're flying from. You may be flying with an airline that allows you to book your dog as baggage on the same flight as you. You may have to go with a pet relocation company that's going to fly your pet down as cargo on a separate plane. Or you might be able to, depending on budget, take advantage of flying your pet down on a private flight that's shared with other pet owners. We do find that almost all of our clients in Costa Rica end up buying a car because it can be difficult to get around just via public transportation. Having a car also gives you a lot of freedom to explore all of the corners of this beautiful country, a lot of freedom and flexibility. Given the importation costs, cars are more expensive in Costa Rica than what you may be used to in the United States, Canada, or other countries. For that reason, almost everyone buys used here. Let's talk about what our clients decided to do. For Camille, she wanted a not too old 4x4 SUV, which is recommended for many locations in Costa Rica. We ended up finding her a great 2015 Nissan Extra. Peter, on the other hand, decided to import his car. Now, in many cases, we don't recommend this, but for an electric vehicle, like Peter had, it made perfect sense. Costa Rica currently has tax incentives when it comes to the importation of electric vehicles, so he saved a lot on import tax in this case. Charlotte and Dave had a lower budget, so they went with a slightly older model. Again, a 4x4 and an SUV was important to them. We were able to make recommendations on the most reliable older cars here in Costa Rica in terms of brand and model. The Toyota RAV4 is probably the most classic expat car here. And finally, we couldn't leave you without talking more about the beautiful new homes that our clients have found in Costa Rica. We help with both the rental search and also connecting you to qualified real estate agents in different areas of the country if you're looking to buy. The rental search here can be tough. You're competing often with short-term rentals when it comes to finding a long-term place to stay, which means that prices can be higher, especially in some of the more touristy locations of the country. It helps a lot to have local connections and to be able to speak Spanish. We helped Camille find a beautiful place on the southern side of Lake Arenal that has direct lake access, so she can walk out of her door in the morning and go directly down to put her toes in the water or take a kayak out. She has 2 bedrooms and a separate studio space, and it's pet friendly for her cat. Peter ended up buying a luxury condo in one of the nicest buildings in all of Escazú. It's very well known. He had a move-in ready apartment, turnkey, which was exactly what he needed. Charlotte and Dave were able to find a really sweet 2-bedroom townhome walking distance to Playa Herradura, so they could realize their dream of going out to the beach every morning and taking their dog for a run. Now, we just went through a lot of topics, but they're by no means comprehensive. There are a lot of other things to think about when you're making a big international move. Everything from health to taxes to how are you going to keep a mailing address in your home country. If you've been doing research into moving to Costa Rica, you may have seen that there is a lot of information out there. and it is very normal to feel overwhelmed at a certain point. Our goal at Start Abroad is to take that stress off of your plate so you can focus on enjoying what should be a really exciting time in your life, moving to a new country. We do that by getting to know you. Nobody is the same, and no two moves should be the same. With Camille, Peter, Charlotte, and Dave, we talked them through their options, helped them make the right decisions for them, and then executed to get them to Costa Rica as smoothly as possible. We'd love to be a part of your move to Costa Rica, so please reach out to us. We offer free 15-minute consultations at www.startabroad.com. We'd love to talk to you about how you can get to Costa Rica.